Greetings, fellow Taoists, and welcome back to 1991 Review. The Great Tao is vast, cultivation spans 10,000 kalpas, and every step upon the path of defying the heavens is an encounter with karma and reincarnation. Today, we shall once again turn the next page in the epic tale of Qin Mu's journey, a mortal who carries within him an astonishing heavenly fate. After the heavens shaking, earth-shattering events at the Lulon Golden Palace, will the vortex of destiny push him next, and what fortuitous encounters and earth-shattering secrets await? I invite you, esteemed Taoists, to listen. In the previous chapter, after her grand affair was ruined by Hulinger, Fairy Ling Yuxia was filled with resentment, but could only swallow her anger and suppress her hatred. As for Qin Mu, who has never been entangled in a mortal coil, nor cared for the common affections between men and women, a night passing was merely like the blink of an eye in 10,000 years of cultivation. As dawn broke, Qin Mu was already seated in deep meditation, breathing and circulating his energy. The immortal qi of the early morning, mixed with the sounds of crowing roosters and bleating goats from the mortal world, unexpectedly made him feel as if he returned to the disabled elderly village of old. At that very moment, two voices, imbued with profound inner energy, echoed from the village gate. "There's a village here. Let's go in and ask the directions." Ask for what? This old master navigates with his mind's eye. How could I possibly be lost? Qin Mu channeled his spiritual energy into his eyes and, peering through the morning mist, he immediately saw a blind old man leaning on a bamboo staff and another elderly man with a wild beard who only had his upper body, arguing vehemently. Recognizing Grandpa Blind and Grandpa Butcher, Qin Mu was ecstatic. His body transformed into a whirlwind as he rushed out to embrace the two seniors. In his heart, Grandpa Blind was overjoyed, but his face remained as cold as ice, ceaselessly nagging Butcher for leading him astray, making a huge circle from the desolate frontier all the way back to the treacherous great ruins. At that moment, Fairy Ling Yuxia, having just finished her morning ablutions, caught sight of the two old men and couldn't help but be terrified. She immediately recognized them as the two terrifyingly powerful figures who had once scared her witless on the surging river all those years ago. Without the slightest hesitation, Qin Mu retrieved from his Chinquan bag the dazzling golden lower body he had obtained from forbidden treasury the day before. He asked respectfully, "Grandpa Butcher, could this be your long-lost golden body?" Butcher narrowed his eyes to observe it. A murderous aura flared from the treasured saber in his hand as he lightly made an incision. A stream of golden essence blood flowed out, emitting a familiar aura. The old man slowly shook his head. "It is not mine. This aura, it belongs to that old monster, the shaman ancestor. He and I once fought a battle to the death. I could never mistake his essence blood." Hearing this, Qin Mu was enlightened and declared decisively, "If the shaman ancestor's lower half is here, then Grandpa Butcher's lower half must surely be in use by that old monster." Upon hearing this, Butcher became exceedingly pleased. He stroked his silver beard and laughed heartily, his laughter shaking the entire region. "That old ghost worships this old master to such an extent? My lower half is attached to his body. So are the descendants he sires his, or are they mine?" Hearing these words, Grandpa Blind slowly and deliberately uttered a sentence that was like a bucket of cold water, dousing Butcher's smugness. "If he truly does propagate your lineage and gives birth to a host of descendants for you, will you acknowledge them or not?" After about a verbal sparring, the two powerful figures finally sat down seriously to listen to Qin Mu recount the entire strange adventure of infiltrating the Golden Palace. It was only then that the two revealed that the purpose of their journey this time was also to head to the Lulon Golden Palace to retrieve the lost lower half of Butcher's body. Qin Mu was overjoyed, his heroic spirit soaring as he said, "As long as we find that old monster, the shaman ancestor, and sever his lower half, I can help Grandpa Butcher restore his complete golden body." Subsequently, upon hearing that Ba Shan Jojo was besieged by powerful enemies, Butcher, despite verbally complaining about his talkative disciple, had already transformed his body into a rainbow streak and set off immediately. The group mounted the divine green bull and returned along the old path. Along the way, Ling Yuxia and Qin Mu ceaselessly discussed the complex political situation on the frontier, where various khans were vying for supremacy and plotting against the eternal peace empire with the shadowy backing of the Lulon Golden Palace. Suddenly, Grandpa Blind spoke, his voice calm yet full of power. "Stop. Over there, I can sense a heaven-shaking, earth-shattering killing intent. Someone is engaged in battle." The Green Bull and Ling Yuxia were bewildered. How could a blind mortal see? Qin Mu quickly explained, "Although Grandpa Blind's eyes are blind, his mind's eye is the sharpest in our disabled elderly village." Indeed, as the divine beast ran toward the southwest, on a distant spiritual mountain, a sky-rending saber light was flashing, tearing through the clouds. As they drew closer, a terrifying scene unfolded. 8 shaman kings of grotesque forms, human bodies with bird heads, human bodies with leopard heads, 3 heads and 6 arms, their demonic chi soaring, were laying out a deadly formation, besieging a lone figure on the mountain peak. Countless golden divine abilities rained down like a torrential storm. Yet at the center of the formation, the saber chi remained untamed, domineering, and supreme. That person was none other than Bashan Jojo. Butcher glanced over. The killing intent in his eyes flashed and then subsided. He heaved a sigh of relief. That chatterbox isn't dead yet. Let's head back. So he said, but his body had already transformed into a streak of crimson light, soaring straight into the nine heavens. A brilliant beam of saber light, like a meteor, ripped through the very fabric of space. Almost instantaneously, a terrified scream rang out. Heavenly Kagin! In midair, a head tumbled down. The bird-headed shaman king, the strongest of the eight, had been slain by a single slash, his soul scattered to the winds. Butcher landed gracefully on the bull's back and waved his hand, ordering, Your master has great fortune. Even if he's heavily injured, he can still break through the encirclement. We are going to the Lulan Golden Palace. On the peak of the spiritual mountain, Ba Shan Jojo shouted with joy, Master, it really is you. You abandoned your disciple for so many years. Before he could finish his sentence, Butcher's cold voice echoed from afar, containing only a single word, Scram. The divine green bull understood his intent, immediately turning around and breaking through the void to leave, leaving behind a bewildered Ba Shan Jojo, who was ceaselessly cursing under his breath. The group returned to the shore of Rocherey Lake. Butcher's expression was grave. Old blind, you and Moore will follow me up the sacred mountain. My golden body is incomplete and my magic power is diminished. I am no match for that old monster alone. Standing before the Rocherey, Butcher activated his divine art and took a deep breath. Instantly, heaven and earth changed color, wind surged, and clouds roiled as all the white clouds in the nine heavens were sucked into his chest. Then he blew out a single breath. The entire vast Rocherey Lake was lifted into the air, becoming a vertical ocean, before being blown deep into the snow-capped mountain range. In a flash, the lake bed was bone dry, without a single drop of water remaining. Fairy Ling Yushio was shaken to her core, her spirit in turmoil. She realized this was a legendary expert who had cultivated battle techniques to the realm of great perfection. His physical body had become a saint, capable of moving mountains and filling seas with single breath. Inside the sacred hall of the Golden Palace, the shaman ancestor trembled as he kowtowed before an old monster as withered as a piece of dry wood sitting on the altar. Reporting to the great ancestor, the heavenly Kagin has come to trespass. That old monster was one who had reincarnated 17 times and lived for 18 lifetimes. Hearing this, he merely gave a cold command. With his venerable one presiding here, the heavenly saber dares not act recklessly. Return his golden body to him. Then immediately go and find a sacred child for my next reincarnation. The shaman ancestor did not dare to disobey. He immediately chopped off the lower half of a junior disciple next to him to temporarily attach to his body. Then, enduring the pain, he carried Butcher's golden body down the mountain. The exchange happened in a flash. Standing to one side, Qin Mu even made a kind-hearted suggestion. I also have some knowledge of the art of medicine. If senior shaman ancestor trusts me, I can help you reattach the limb. The shaman ancestor only snorted coldly and departed with a flick of his sleeve. On the way down the mountain, Butcher revealed to Qin Mu that the old monster in the sacred hall was an extremely terrifying existence who had lived for nearly 10,000 years and was only half a step away from the realm of gods. Another chapter has now closed, but the mysteries of the great ruins seem to have only just begun to unfold. Facing an old monster who has lived for nearly 10,000 years and is only half a step from godhood, what plan will Qin Mu and the seniors of the disabled elderly village devise? What true, heavenly destiny awaits him in the future? All will be discussed in the next installment. I invite all you fellow Taoists to subscribe to the 1991 Review channel, to follow Qin Mu's footsteps on his path, to vie for the peak of the great Tao. This humble one takes his leave, until we meet again for the next discussion.